Good to see you from wherever you're watching us. Thanks for joining us on this midweek edition of Sports Tonight, the abridged version. I'm Yemi Adebayo, sitting in for your regular host, Austin Okonakman, who is unavoidably absent. But not to worry, we'll take you on a trip across the money spinning world of sports and tell you all you need to know about the exciting and fast-paced world of sports. What's happening at this moment? Of course, the UEFA Champions League is what's going to get us talking on the show. In the English Premier League as well, Manchester City currently up against West Ham. We'll talk about that as we go on the show. We'll also let you know what is going on the domestic scene. Two rescheduled matches played today in the Nigeria Professional Football League. The Aba Elephants were in action. Flying Antelopes Rangers were also in action. We'll talk about all of that for you on the show tonight. But where do we start the show today? We talk about what's going on in Delta State. Let's start with Delta State. And of course, tell you what's happening right there in Delta. But I also want to bring you into all that we're doing on the show. I think it's only fit and proper that I bring you into all of this. Probably something you want to talk about. You can get across to us on Facebook, Channels for Sports. You can get across to us on Twitter at Channels_Sports. You can also send us a mail, sportstonight@channelstv.com. We'd love to have your feedback. We'd love to know how you feel about all the exciting things happening in the world of sports. And we'll do our best to read out your thoughts and, of course, get your message across the globe. Okay, that said, let's go on and talk about Delta. I was about to tell you that the Delta State government has announced that the second edition of the School Sports Festival will hold from March the 8th to 12th. Of course, the State Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education, talking about Patrick Uka, unveiled the logo and mascot for the Sports Festival in Asaba and said 11 more sports have been included to the event, and you have pictures from that event right there on your screen. You have a lot of people in attendance, of course, at the unveiling. Usually, media people are on hand to publicize the event, and there you have it, a lot to show us what has happened. He also confirmed that the festival is for all primary and secondary schools in the state. Okay, let's pause a little and listen to the key stakeholders talking about what's going to happen in Delta State as regards the 2020 School Sports Festival.
What you can infer, but this time what we're trying to do is to create a philosophy that the children will carry in their mind and feel, and you know that as we begin to bring you up, there's a target of where we're going to. So that is why you see Ogaga coming now to pioneer it. That is why you see a logo coming now to play a role in the games. Because we have a dream. And the dream is like, for me, I played hockey for Nigeria and I played hockey for Bendel State. I started by going to government college yearly to spend 30 days with other children from other schools. That is how we made a lot of friends. We want to return back to that. So as we're picking those talents, we're not going to allow them go. But by the time we put them together, then the Sports Council will have a pool to pick from. That is our role there. Secondly, you find out that we have increased the team sports. We are no longer looking at just track and field. We have the team sports. There's handball, there's hockey. These are traditional school sports events. We are bringing it back. And what we are going to have, like cricket finals, is going to take place in Government College yearly. Hockey is going to take place in Okpanam. Volleyball is going to take place in St. Bridges. So we have scattered it, and Nigerians, parents, are going to be free to move around, recreate by watching their children perform.
All right, there you have it, the efforts to bring back the glory days, talking about, retracing what used to be big in school sports and bringing it back. 11 more sports events added to the sports festival that's going to go down, the school sports festival that's going to go down in Delta State. All right, talking about big events, talking about countdown to big events, let's start from our own mini Olympics. Let's talk about the National Sports Festival. It's just 30 days to go. Of course, the countdown to that event has started on the show, try to mirror the readiness of the hosts, talking about Edo State, trying to look at what they're doing. And of course, it's very crucial as we also look forward to the big one, which is the 2020 Olympics. But talking about the National Sports Festival, of course, feelers we're getting makes us know that the hosts are ready, the facilities are in tip-top shape, and of course, you can expect an event that's probably going to be better than the previous ones if what the organizers are saying is anything to go by. So fingers crossed, we'll see the show that Edo State will put up for the National Sports Festival. Is just 30 days to go, by the way. All right, let's talk about the big one now. Global events, the biggest sporting event anywhere in the world. This is the Olympics. It happens once in every 4 years. And of course, we're here to tell you there's 155 days to go to that multi-sport event. Nigeria is going to be there. And of course, we hope that Team Nigeria, we have a good outing at the Olympics. Hopefully, Team Nigeria will do more than winning a bronze this time out. We'll see what happens. Fingers crossed in that one. Yesterday on Sports Tonight, our man, Austin Okonakpan, caught up with the Minister of Youth Sports Development, talking about Sunday Diary. And of course, he's very optimistic that Team Nigeria will do well. And of course, he also gave updates about Nigeria's preparation for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Let's just sit back and listen to the sports minister, what he has to say. Then we'll come back for more on Sports Tonight.
Honorable Minister, how ready is Team Nigeria?
Nigeria is ready. Nigeria is ready for Tokyo 2020. I can say that because, you know, they say the preparation for the next Olympic starts when the one you just finished ended. So when you talk about preparations, you're looking at two levels. The preparation at the level of the athletes themselves. Over the years, both the home-based and foreign-based have been at national meets and tournaments. They've been to continental, they've been to international, so that they can get the points they need and get ready. So they've been preparing the last 4 years. What we now see is that state preparation that finally puts them where they want to be in terms of training, in terms of camping, in terms of the international championships they need to really attend to sharpen their skills. And I think this time around, what is different, really, is that first, we're working very hard to make sure that our funds are released early enough. President Muhammad Buhari has been quite supportive, working through the Ministry of Finance. So unlike in the past, this time around, we expect that the funds will be available perhaps in another 60 days. That would be a record release of funds. Beyond that, we have rolled out a number of initiatives, particularly the Adopt an Athlete campaign, which funds and supports the athlete directly. It is a hybrid of the grants for the athletes that you have in the United Kingdom, in South Africa, in Jamaica. And we've seen at least 15 of our athletes benefit. We have 57 of them. We hope that in the next 30 to 40 days, we will get each of these athletes adopted. Unlike in the past, we competed in about 22 sports. This time around, we put in a little bit of precision. We kind of looked at performances, we looked at their ratings, the points you have, and we've decided, look, we're going to just compete in 11 sports.
All right, Sports Minister laying it out, what's going to happen. Of course, talking about precision, not just going out there for a jamboree, going out there to participate in events with the prospects of doing well and probably winning medals, not just making up the numbers. And of course, he also says that hopefully the funds for Nigeria's contingent will be released in the next 60 days. So you probably take out 60 days from 155. Hopefully Nigeria will be ready. Nigeria will be ready for the event. Maybe some 90 days before the events. We'll see. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens in that one. All right, so let's leave the little matter of the Olympics and come home and talk about a story that's been everywhere. And a lot of people are waiting for the NFF to confirm or deny whether or not there's any truth into any truth about that story. About a week ago, and ever since that time the story first broke, it's been in the dailies everywhere that former Super Eagles striker Daniel Amokachi has been appointed as the head of the NFF's technical department. Like I said, we were waiting for a confirmation or a denial, so to speak, of that story. But today it has come, and of course the NFF has denied appointing Daniel Amokachi as the technical director of the NFF. The Nigeria Football Federation denies that report. And of course, the NFF insisted that Bitrus Bilrang is still its technical director, and that at no time has it called for applications from candidates for the position. He also goes on to say that this clarification becomes necessary against the background of misleading reports of the appointment of Amokachi, and the NFF also commended the federal government for appointing Daniel Amokachi as the ambassador of Nigerian football. So I guess that has been laid to rest for now, and so we'll see what happens now. They've refuted all of those claims and reports, some statements attributed to the key figures in that story. Now a rebuttal has come, and the NFF has said, no, Daniel Amokachi is not, has not been appointed, and he's not a technical director with the NFF. So we'll see what happens. Let's go on and talk about the Nigeria Professional Football League rescheduled matches. 2 matches played today, and here are the results. The Aba Elephants, talking about Aimba, had a 2-0 victory over Kwara United. Of course, the Flying Antelopes, that's Rangers International of Enugu, were able to beat Kano Pillars. Of course, Aimba have moved into the 5th position, courtesy of this win. Goals from Stanley Dingba and Victor Mboma ensured that they climb up into the 5th position. For Rangers, the 75th minute goal from Chinonzo Ezekwe was able to give them maximum 3 points at the Cathedral in Enugu. And on the strength of that victory, the Flying Antelopes have been able to crawl out of the relegation zone, at least for now. We'll see what happens as the days go by. Those are the results from rescheduled matches played in the Nigeria Professional Football League. Let's flip things quickly and talk about the ladies as we move on the show. Let's talk about the ladies and let's talk about calls from different quarters for more private sector participation in sports in the country. This time, we're talking about the Deputy Governor of Edo State, Mr. Philip Shaibu. Of course, he's added his voice to that call for private sector participation in sports. Mr. Shaibu, who was speaking at the annual general meeting of the Nigeria Women's Football League in Benin City, the Edo State capital, says government on its part will continue to provide the right atmosphere for the private sector to grow. The chairperson of the Nigerian Women Football League, Aisha Falode, lamented that the majority of the amateur club sides are not registering with the body to get involved in league games. Let's pause a little and listen to the Deputy Governor of Edo State have his say on that issue of participation of the private sector in sports in Nigeria.
For us to fight insecurity and fight poverty, we must create jobs. And in creating jobs, the driver of this job creation is the private sector. For the private sector to drive the economy, we, the government, must provide enabling environment by providing infrastructure. For us in Edo State now, we are provided infrastructure. What is next? Private sector should now come and take advantage of this infrastructure and not drive the process. You can imagine the multiplier effect when in Edo State we have our own state amateur league for female. Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. Imagine you have 10 clubs in 5 divisions. Multiply the number of players that will be in those leagues. From Division 5 to 4, 4 to 3, 3 to 2, 2 to 1. Super League, if you win, you go and do a playoff to now go to National League. When we do that across the country, check the multiplier effect.
In a country where we have over 50 amateur women football clubs spread all over Nigeria, it was indeed disappointing to have just 5 teams registered for the amateur league. We want to encourage amateur clubs across the country to brace up to the responsibility of running their clubs under a regulated league board as the Nigeria Women Football League. Over the last 3 seasons, we have had to do a lot of steadying the NWFS ship by removing the many obvious clogs in the wheel of the smooth operation of the league.
That's it, Aisha Falode, speaking then, of course, Deputy Governor of Edo State, Phyllis Shaibu, having their say on women's football and the way forward in Nigeria. We need to go on a break right about now. When we return from that break, we'll take you to Europe, talk about the UEFA Champions League, talk about Manchester City, of course, how their opinion about the allegations of financial fair play, the rules breach. We'll talk about all of that on the show. But let's go to the UEFA Champions League and quickly give you results from the 2 matches going on as we speak. There you have it. Atalanta up against Valencia is 2-0 in favor of the Italian side. Of course, the Italians had a surprise. A lot of people, even getting to this stage in itself, was punching above their weight for the Italian club. And of course, Tottenham and RB Leipzig is goalless as we speak. So we'll let you know if anything, of course, is happening. But as we speak, Atalanta 2-0 up against Valencia. Tottenham and Leipzig still battling it out. Is goalless as we speak. That's it for the UEFA Champions League as it stands for now. Trust us to let you know if anything has changed in those matches. All right, let's give you a little bit of boxing. Hopefully, I'll tell you something about the English Premier League, Manchester City and West Ham before I go. Okay, that's it. It's still 1-0 Manchester City up against West Ham. So Manchester City, with all the issues they're battling with, they have to keep their head down and just, face what's ahead of them. And that's finishing well in the English Premier League. So they lead 1-0 against West Ham. The game is still going on as we speak. So that's how we'll wrap things up on the show tonight. I do hope that you've enjoyed what we've brought to you. We'll be back here again tomorrow to do what we love doing best, which is talking sports. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.